Make sure my jury out. Make sure my jury out. Y'all hear that? Pure silence. I ain't got no big jewelry. Jewelry.
If I was rich, I still wouldn't get big jewelry. It's very tacky.
It's all about the watches. Vintage Cartier watches is really, really the vibes.
It's just tacky looking. Like, I seen some people pull it off well, and I get it as a part of the culture, so I'm not going to hate on African American culture, but it's just like a little tacky.
The only thing I don't like, and I don't care who does it, I don't like anything with like I guess you would call it a pendant, but the things is huge.
Yeah, you saw what's his name? He had like a bird or something.
Ooh.
Somebody, what is his name? Let me look it up. He had like a bird.
There's been a lot of wild chains. And some are cool, but like, especially for the cost of the chains, it's like wild. But me personally, just my personal taste, because do what you want. My personal taste is just the necklace. Like, I don't want anything else.
Who had it?
Like, even the massive Cubans and like the huge rope chains and all that kind of stuff, that to me is still better than any sort of thing hanging from the chain. But that's just my personal taste, personal preference.
I'm not even going to be able to find this, but somebody had like a huge hawk. And it was really ugly. I think it was like PNB Rock or something.
But some of them are cool. Like, I think the Drake's most recent chains are cool. There's
some people do them really unique.
There was one that he had made.
Yeah, it was PNB Rock.
One he had made, and then one Thug gifted him was fire. That just looks mad heavy, bro. That looked like he got a Pokemon on his neck.
Stupid, right? That's not cute.
Bro, that's hilarious. That looked like a Pokemon he got around his neck.
I just like small jewelry. Like, I don't know. Like, do you feel like there's an image that you have to have as a rapper, and like that you feel like it's kind of dumb? Like, all rappers seem like they have to buy a chain. Like, they get signed, and then they use that money for their personal image, their brand. I mean, I guess that's a culture to sell it, but that's why, you have people like J. Cole, you have people like Kanye, the whole, like, what they call, like, the suburban rapper, the backpack rapper.
Kanye's chains are nuts.
I know, but I'm saying, like, in the beginning, they weren't. Like, that was just, like, his image. He came out just clean cut, minimal jewelry. Like, how come a female rapper can't come out here and just wear, like, little dainty necklaces and, like, little earrings? Like, why do they have to get the big chains that say Icy Girl or The Stallion, like...
Because it's a status symbol.
Why they all have to have big butts? Like, why can't they be skinny? I haven't seen I've seen skinny rappers. Flo Milli. Who else? So I can really think of.
That's crazy.
It's just crazy. I hate like that there has to be an image for stuff. And I feel like that jewelry stuff is definitely, like, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are genuinely interested in it. But then for another half, they're just selling an image. And I feel like it's just unnecessary.
Yeah.
But to each their own. If I ever got rich, I would never. The only thing I would get that was like iced out. It's just like maybe a little like tennis necklace, and that's it. I wouldn't get no big. I would have one bust down watch, and I'll have just one, and the rest of it would be plain. Just one,
God,
one.
Lord, no, bust down watches are the worst things ever.
Like
just get a bracelet.
I would give
Cartier,
whatever. I'll do that, like a small dainty one.
Yeah, but like, you're destroying a watch. Like, that's...
It's just one. I would do it just one. Everything else would be
plain. Because that's what doesn't make sense.
Everything else would be plain. I just want one that's like blingy.
But that's what doesn't make sense about any of that stuff anyways. That you're like...
devaluing it.
Like, you're paying like so much money for like cheap materials.
Yeah.
Like, they would never give... Like, for real, like these places like Icebox and whatever the people go to shop, they would never give you an actual valuable diamond to put in your jewelry, because that diamond would be worth more on its own than it would be in jewelry.
Yeah.
So any of those necklaces and all that stuff, all them whatever VVs and all that stuff, is cool, but like, they're not valuable because that's why the jeweler is putting them in a piece versus just selling the diamond individual, because there's still more money in selling pristine diamonds than there is selling it to a rapper.
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't make sense. So people are putting like trash diamonds in a watch, because that's why you can get a bust down for like $100K, even though it has like 200 diamonds in it, because those are 200 trash diamonds. That's why it's not like $20 million watches because they're all trash. But you know, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But what do I know? It just doesn't make sense to like destroy something that's already valuable with something that's invaluable.
We saw that one video where like there was somebody that had literally a rare one that they destroyed. Like, are you dumb? Like, if you're gonna do that, I feel like just get a watch that's like anybody can get. You know, like go just get like
A G-Shock.
not even a G-Shock, but just like
What's down the G-Shock?
like a Rolex that's like a certain like model Rolex that's always available. Like, don't do it with a rare watch, like a one of like 10. Like, are you dumb? Why would you devalue something that's literally an asset?
Because it would make sense. Like if people were buying the jewelry and you were able to like resell it, that would make sense. Like if you're able to melt it down, sell out the individual diamonds, whatever, that would make sense to me. But because they're paying for like bad items, you can't even resell any of that stuff. So it actually really doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like you're paying $100K for something that is like only worth like 10.
And the only thing like you'll be able to do is like you know when people are like, oh, they pass down stuff, like you can't really pass down that. Like, I mean, people will always buy it, but it's kind of is wasteful. Like, you have all this blinged out jewelry that's kind of just devaluing. Like, what are you gonna do when you die, or like you just pass down, like throw it out, sell it, donate it?
Sell it is the one, because I've seen some people like, and has nothing to do with Akon or how much money he has, because I don't know how much money he has, but I'm pretty sure at one point you could find some Akon chains on eBay and stuff like that from like, I think he either sold it or auctioned it, because it's like, especially the person he is now is like, you got these big giant chains, like what are you gonna really do with that? It's crazy. But yeah. Let me hit these air horns before those are. That was an intro. But yeah, what is going on? Wait, did I even intro? I didn't even intro nothing.
This week was kind of just like a lot going on.
There was a lot going on.
It was like a lot, but a little bit, but a lot at the same time.
There's always a lot going on. But what do we got specifically? Because I don't even know. I don't pay attention to anything. Like I'm just kind of floating through life right now.
What is this? And I was gonna say we could talk briefly about like people recording Virgil's funeral. I thought that was a little.
Did that happen in the past week? That's crazy. I think so,
yeah.
I feel like that was so long ago.
That was like last Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's the that clout culture is something interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how people got into like. I mean, it's just crazy that like you trust people to be there, and then there's people that like record. I'm sure they had no issue with people maybe possibly recording, but then posting it online.
No, but even recording is weird. Because what are you recording for? Like you're gonna go back and watch the funeral footage.
Yeah, watch people cry.
It's like weird. But that's the problem. Like, and this is expected. But I feel like this came mostly from like when celebrities started passing. Because like back in the day, like, and this is a wild thing to just go off the top of my head, but like when JFK was assassinated, right? Public viewings and processions and funerals and stuff like that, like that's always been like a thing. Yeah. But with phones, the phones didn't exist, so you just showed up and paid
if
your
you saw
respects.
it, you saw it, and then you might see the newspaper pictures, and that's it.
But then more like the phones came, and then people like doing public services at like Whitney's funeral, for example.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these things, but it's like that whole, it's become like a thing now. So like when any sort of celebrity dies, there's going to be like a big sort of like the public is going to be included now.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of footage and stuff like that. But this wasn't one of those.
Yeah.
Not in terms of who he, like his popularity, but just in terms of like the service itself was supposed to be private. But even then you see pictures come out of it. Like, why are you taking, like, it's just weird. Like, why? Like, okay, why? Who cares if Drake went? Like, who cares if Kanye went? Like, I don't
like. It's like, duh. Like, I feel like even if you want to talk about it after the fact, right? Like, give us let us visualize it instead of actually seeing it. You know, you could be like, Kanye, Drake was there. His sister said this, you know, and then we could visualize it. But to actually record it and just like post it, like, I wonder if they tracked down who did it. If they were mad.
No, that's the thing, because for things to get on the internet, somebody has to put them out there. So I wonder who first posted it.
Yeah.
But even then,
or if maybe they sent it to somebody and
then
they posted it. Yeah. So
it's just a weird.
It's still weird to record in the first place.
Because you know the whole purpose is to like, it's like weird.
And nobody else is on their phone in this video. You can see everybody's literally just paying attention.
It's a real cloudy sort of. thing.
Yeah.
But I don't like that.
And then it was weird how outside people were asking Kanye for autographs. You saw that?
No.
He signed like mad stuff.
Oh,
Like,
that's what that was? I thought that was for something
that was
else.
the same day. Yeah. I'm like, that's kind of really disrespectful. Like, he probably was just trying to be nice, but like to bombard him with all that stuff, like why he's kind of just mourning.
I don't want to deviate from the topic, but that whole autograph thing.
Stupid. I actually never understood it.
Like back in the day, of course, I go back and forth with it, right? Because I've purchased autographs of famous people. Like
Yeah.
in my lifetime, I bought like a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, and some others, but I just can't remember. So I'm not against it, but like there's something about like bothering somebody.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather pass up the opportunity,
Then to like be like, hey, can you sign this?
but I also more prefer a picture. Like I would
Me
rather take
too.
a picture.
I feel like a picture is way more valuable than somebody signing something. I mean, you could sell that signed
But
item, but
people,
nowadays I feel like people aren't really buying autograph stuff. Or, like at least for people that are still alive. Like,
oh well, yeah.
yeah, like the autograph stuff for people that pass is
Well-
super valuable. I mean, Kanye stuff is probably gonna be really valuable one day.
It depends on LeBron. Well, LeBron autographs are nuts, and Jordan autographs are nuts. Those are just the
yeah,
ones
people,
I can
and
think
people
off the top
still,
of my head.
yeah, people
But-
still want that connection. Like, oh wow, he signed this. Like, this is his handwriting. Like,
But those are great. But it mostly depends on how much the person autographs. Because
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali, for example, loved autographing stuff. So you can go find a Muhammad Ali autograph even in his death for a pretty decent price.
Mm-hmm.
And even Mike Tyson signed a lot of stuff. You can find it for a decent price. People like Jordan don't even leave the house really. So it's like a little bit harder. But I didn't want to deviate from the Virgil thing. But we could go back to that in a second. But it's just weird, the whole clout culture thing and wanting to be a part of something. And it's like Virgil and the culture that he sort of like helped to make explode was this new streetwear scene. Because I think in our last video where we talked about him passing away, I feel like I credited him with starting streetwear, which I didn't mean to say. I meant that he
it popularized,
no, not
or
even that.
maybe made it mainstream.
Not even that. I think because I had to, think about like the real origins of like streetwear and stuff like that. So he made it more popular for what clothing looks like today. But
Yeah.
streetwear always existed, like with the 90s and
Yeah, that's true.
the tees and stuff like that. But even then, like before that, 80s skateboard culture. Well, 90s was skateboard culture too, but like that whole era was streetwear.
It really started in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I misspoke there, but yeah, he's a part of that like, I don't want to say that he was a hype beast because it's such a negative thing.
But he was just part of that shift that
But like
happened.
he created the hype beast
Yeah.
basically. Like a lot of his stuff created the hype beast. So
Yeah.
because of that, there's a lot of like clout and I got this tea and all that. So you would only expect those people to show up at the funeral that don't really that never actually really even cared about him
yeah.
as a person or what he represented, but just cared about like,
like Off-White.
yeah, if I have the air commas on the on the side of my shoe, then I'm lit.
Yeah.
So it's just unfortunate. People should stop being weird. Like nobody
Yeah.
cares. Like
Stop
even if you get the
recording stuff.
attention you get for 30 seconds, nobody cares the next day anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And I feel like why burn bridges? Because if like, let's say the person who recorded that did post it, like now people might find out, word gets around. Now you're not getting invited to these events anymore, Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of dumb. Like, why would you burn that bridge?
have some sensitivity.
Yeah, just be happy that you're there, and like that you're special enough to be there, and
'Cause
just relax.
They didn't televise it. It wasn't like a live
Yeah,
stream
because
like
some
they
people
do.
do live streams. Like that's probably what he wanted. He probably wanted it to be like intimate. So
Mm-hmm.
how are you gonna not respect the person whose funeral that you're at? Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I ain't like that. But
Yeah.
But to go back quickly, back the other direction, yeah, I much rather. I think people put too much value on money, and it's like if who just said it? Somebody said it, and I forget who it was, and I feel really bad.
What?
But and then I don't even know if they came up with this quote, but they were just saying that. Oh, it was like Dave Chappelle. I think it was Dave Chappelle that said it, or Joe Rogan. It was either one of them. It was Dave Chappelle. He said that if everything that you focus on is money, you're gonna end up missing the bigger picture. And like even with the autograph thing, like you're missing like the moment. You're missing
Yeah,
something
you're
bigger.
there with Kanye. Like you're so focused on, ooh, I can get an autograph and make mad money that you're not realizing this is literally like him in your face. Like
And maybe they just want it for themselves, but even still, it's like
you could tell, nah, cause they had stacks and stacks of stuff. Like you could tell they were trying.
they came there for
Yeah,
because they don't. You see it on Grilled
yeah,
because like I've seen people with even before Virgil's death. Like this has been a thing. Virgil, if you went to any of those like events and stuff, like
Yeah.
you could get him to like sign your shoes sometimes.
Yeah,
and it'd be
yeah,
like Virgil was here.
pictures.
Like that's why they need Louis named that thing. Like he would do that.
yeah.
Those things go right on Grilled. Nobody ever cared about keeping them because they don't care about the moment. But everything that people focus on a lot of times is money, and it's kind of like a
I wouldn't even
unfortunate
if
thing.
I was in that moment. I wouldn't even think about getting an autograph. I would think about a picture first, and then try to have a conversation if I can, just like shortly.
The funny part is I'm like conversation first and then
And
picture
then
afterwards.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, cause then he might feel more like, wow, actually, this person actually wants to like talk.
Yeah, because that's what I actually care about. I tend to not admire people, but I admire thought. Their thoughts, their ideas, and stuff like that. I find value in that because I don't know these people personally, so it's tough to say that like I like them as people because I don't know them
You
as
don't
people.
know. They could be really crazy.
So that's why I like to talk to like learn something,
Yeah.
like because in my mind I'll always have that moment.
Or like you don't have to really prove it to anybody that like you met him, you know, just enjoy the moment.
Yeah, because people use that.
Oh my God, I met Kanye today. Like, you know, I would do that too, but it's just probably people who not really even fans. Hey, it's Kanye, let me take a pic.
In my like social media-ness, like lack of using it, I found lack of posting because I still use it. I still use it to
Yeah.
view it for news and keep up with memes and things. But in my lack of posting, it really does make you value life a little bit more because when you're not just like people focusing on money so much, when you're not focused on like trying to have an image or upkeep an image or anything like that, it makes you value those moments more. When you're not like pulling out the phone, like you've seen it, like you get food at a restaurant and the first thing you do is pull out the phone to take a picture of it. And everything is different. Like I know some
Yeah.
people will take the picture for their own memory, but there's something beautiful in doing
And
things
just
that
eating, just sitting down eating,
yeah, or just like
going to the, you know, to an event and just enjoying the moment.
just chilling.
Yeah, that's one thing I do hate about like it's such like an internal battle too because it's like you struggle between like, yeah, these are memories. Like I love looking back on all my pictures of stuff that we've done, you know? It's like a struggle between that and should I just enjoy the moment? And I feel like that's what it's cool sometimes to repeat things for that reason, you know? Like if we go back to someplace that we did or go back to someplace like somewhere like, you know, we go bowling a lot. So it's not like I feel the need to record that we're bowling every time we go bowling, you know? So there's times where we're there and I'm really just enjoying the moment, you know? Or we go back to a museum and like just to go like finish up like a certain exhibit. Like it's like, okay, maybe I don't gotta record this time. So that's why sometimes I feel it's cool to repeat things, but some things are like once in like a lifetime type things that you might have opportunities at. And it's like, should I capture these moments, you know, and have them as memories, or should I just enjoy the moment? It's like I feel like if you just have a balance, you know. It's kind of like how we saw when we was watching the Kanye Drake concert, and like the people were like taking pictures in the crowd. And I feel like, you know, I'm all for that. 'Cause I like, you know, I would be taking pictures too. But then it just makes you wonder, because it's like, you know, I hate to be stereotypical, but they didn't really look like stereotypical Kanye fans. So it's like, what are you really there for? You know, the pictures, the posts, or are you there for that moment?
Yeah. And that's what I feel like I've sort of learned.
Yeah.
Because, like, even when we went to the Kanye show that one time, and I damn near recorded every song that he
Yeah.
was recording, or that he was playing, or, sorry, performing. And it was great. I mean, I was obviously in the moment. I was screaming the songs.
Yeah.
Those videos were disgusting.
But
Like, it would have been cool, like, maybe just take one picture. Hey, I'm at the Kanye
yeah,
show.
and then just sit there and like really like grasp like the concept that that's Kanye.
I damn near shot a documentary. I recorded so much.
Yeah, and it makes you think like, dang, like maybe I should just enjoy that was him, and really like sat there and be like, that's really Kanye. Like,
because that's how I felt about the Travis show. I didn't record a lot of the Travis show. You recorded more than me. I didn't really. I was just there
that's when I was like active on YouTube.
wilding out.
Yeah.
But I like the death of Snapchat in that sense because, and not in like obviously not a lot of people use Snapchat, but I know Snapchat performs well as a company because they got into a bunch of other stuff. I don't want you financial people to be like, actually, I know. But with my lack of use of Snapchat, I like it a lot because you saw I used to record nonstop stuff, and a lot of those things, of course, are memories.
Yeah.
But it's just being more sensible, more aware of the time, the place, and how much of it you're doing. So,
and that's why I do this for various reasons. But one of the things I like about the fact that I'll like record stuff on Instagram or record it on my camera roll and then not post it. Like I'll record while we're out someplace, but then I won't post it like the next day or until like the car ride home. Because I also feel like posting in the moment does sometimes take away from the moment because you're typing, a caption, right? Like you're like putting GIFs and stuff in it. Like you're doing all this extra stuff. And sometimes you got to listen back to make sure you didn't say anything crazy, Like, so it's like some people focus on that in the moment. I'm like, I don't even have time. Like, I don't have the capacity to do that, like, in the moment. Like, I literally I have to just record, save it, and then go back to it later. But I do that for various reasons. One reason, like the main reason, I don't want to post something crazy and like I sound wild. Another reason, I don't want people knowing where I'm at in the present moment. Another reason is like I have like anxiousness when I post on Instagram story for some reason. It's like cringe. And then the fourth reason is that like I just want to kind of enjoy the moment more, and that helps you enjoy the moment more if you're not focusing on what your caption is going to be and all that. Just record what you need to record and then go back later and chop up the clips, do whatever you need to do later, but don't do that in the moment.
That's why even on vacations and stuff, so much of it's such a wild thing because money does. I'm not gonna act like money doesn't move me because money does move me, but it doesn't move me in the way that I think it moves other people.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because I know that if I was in a place where money was of no object, because I'm doing fine now,
Yeah.
but if money was of no object,
Like you wonder how you would.
I would never record a vacation. Well, at least in the way that I record it now. But
do you think is people record it because it's an object?
I'm more so saying, well, at least for me specifically, I'm more so saying that I'm more inclined to record a bunch of stuff that we're doing on a vacation because I know that if I put it on YouTube, it's going to get views. Mm-hmm. But if I had money, I wouldn't care about the views and I wouldn't care about YouTube.
Makes sense because so that's what the root is.
Yeah, because I would record certain things. Like obviously, if we're on a cliffside restaurant dining, I'm gonna take a picture. Like look at the water.
Yeah, because like it's nice. Like
it's nice.
You want to capture
cool
that. Yeah,
and to show other people that may never go to that place. Like, they want to experience those things too. Like it's a cool thing. Like I recorded our whole trip with my parents all the way out to the West Coast driving. Like and that's that was cool stuff. To watch. Yeah, the whole journey, the different terrain, and being in the desert. Then next thing you're in like a forest. It's interesting stuff. But I do know like that I didn't post.
Yeah,
there was no reason to post it.
Even like, and I don't think you really even posted that you really was on like that full road trip. You kind of just posted like random blips of you, random places, but.
Yeah,
I was the main one. Like Alex went on a road trip.
Yeah, because there was beauty in being
like present,
taking that trip because that's a trip people always say they want to do.
Yeah,
but being there in those different places and seeing stuff you've never seen before, it's a beautiful thing. But I definitely know that if money was of no object, I would definitely not post those things. And I would be in the moment more, and I would enjoy it more. Not that I don't now, but no.
Yeah,
I would definitely do it less.
I think I would still, because my intention is not really money. My intention is kind of just like, I just like showing my life.
Listen,
so I would still do it.
I swear, like, it's tough because Twitter and Instagram, I look at them as business opportunities.
Yeah.
But for real, if I really blew up on take I hate to use heavy hitters as like an example, but if you take Joe Rogan, for example, and it's if you ignore his past because he's been working forever. Like, but I mean now, like in his current space, if he only ever had just his podcast and could put it out on just YouTube or just put it out on Spotify, there would be no reason to like he's fine. Like he's not getting more views because of a Twitter account or an Instagram account. And to me, that's really only the benefit for me personally that those apps have. I would love that so much because I honestly would probably not have a Twitter or an Instagram. I probably wouldn't. I don't care about no memes. I don't care about none of that stuff that much.
But you do miss out on the funny stuff.
But I experience funny stuff in real life, so that's why like I don't really care.
True.
I'm sure I could deal with not seeing that funny thing that made me only laugh for 30 seconds and then I move about my day. I know I sound like an old person and I just know I sound like a downer all the time, but it's true. It's just like getting more back like into real life because like high school was, because phones weren't really like that. High school was mad fun. I couldn't imagine high school
That's true, because that's the thing, like we were still kind of on the verge of like technology. So, people have Vine and stuff and like people were tweeting in class, but Snapchat wasn't really a thing like that. Like, people were saying Snap, but there was no Snap stories really in high school. Like, didn't that start like
the tech was trash.
Senior year, right? Freshman year? I remember I didn't make my Snapchat until freshman year.
That was the wild part about Snapchat, that there was no stories.
There was no stories. It was just meant to send people literally pictures or text.
Crazy.
So it was like, yeah, we didn't. That's like when you really think about it,
high school
it really
was lit.
did change high school because we were literally on that border. Like now, I'm sure you go to a high school and people recording TikToks in the hallway. So everybody's posting their story. Like that just seems like they're like hooked to their phones. Like I think now even since how society is that you're even allowed to have your phone in class. Like we couldn't have phones in high school. I don't know how yours
they used
was.
to take them things.
We couldn't even have it in a study hall. Like I was like, I can't listen to music. Like we literally could not use our phones anywhere.
And like even like our prom and everything like that, I wouldn't even be able to tell you if there was a phone anywhere.
Yeah,
in there.
I
We were
know.
just chilling.
Nobody,
just
because there was no
dancing.
stories. There was no like, hey, like people might record their videos or take a picture,
It didn't exist.
but there was no, yeah.
It wasn't. It was probably the most, in terms of my life, the most fun I had would have been,
Like around that time.
yeah, within those 2 years. So like 2014, 2013 to 2015, 14-ish was peak. And there wasn't a ton of phone usage. There was, but like,
Yeah.
at least not in 2013, 2014, in the first half at least. But once I got to college, it was crazy because I was recording everything.
Yeah, and that's why that transition was crazy because it was so abrupt. From like I said, I will record videos like I remember Instagram came out with Instagram videos senior year I think or junior year in high school. So like I remember like but it wasn't like popular. Like people weren't really posting videos on their page. But I remember like I was like in a Vine. So that was like really the only reason like I kind of recorded stuff to make like the little flipograms, like my little prom flipogram with a few pictures and videos. And then just recording on my camera roll like with friends and stuff. But then like when Snapchat really like was starting to boom with the stories, that was our freshman year. So the timing was like just crazy. Because it was like, of course, the 1 year like they were freshmen, Snapchat starts blowing up. So, that was us recording like every moment, literally. And posting it on our stories. And that's like where it really began. Because, like, you were just recording, like, we were randomly in people's dorms or, like, out to get food or at a party. Like, you were just recording random clips. So that's when the spiral started. Feeling the need to record everything, right?
Yeah, like, ooh, got a grilled cheese. It was nasty. But nonetheless, rest in peace, Virgil, again.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that was the whole point of that.
Let's see. I have something else I wrote down, but I'm gonna see. Oh yeah, we can talk about how Jussie Smollett was guilty. I'm not really shocked.
Let me. I feel like I have a button for that. I don't have a button for that.
Oh.
What was that?
Uh-huh.
I just hit the perfect.
I already knew it. What? Yeah, I already knew he was guilty. I dug out my old tweets from the week it happened. And I remember on my other account, like everybody, like I saw subtweets because I said I didn't believe him, and I saw somebody was like, people are so homophobic and they don't believe when stuff happens to black gay men. I was just like, I know you're not talking about me. I bet you feel stupid now. Because it's not about you being gay. It's not about you being black. It's not about this, that. It's a story that didn't make sense. He said he got robbed at a subway at 3 a.m. in Chicago and got a noose around his neck, and the person said they knew him from Empire. If that made sense to you from the beginning, then you're slow and dumb. I'm sorry.
They're walking around with maggots at
Yeah.
3 a.m.
And they recognized him from Empire. That show's not that popular. I'm sure that that side of the political world doesn't know what Empire is. I'm sorry. The show's not that relevant, and your character is not that relevant. Like, so if you're kind of that slow and dumb to not have realized that it was a lie from the jump, then that's on you. Like, people were being shady when I didn't believe it, and like, now what do you got to say? Like, the story wasn't adding up. Lies or a liar is a liar. I don't care who you are, your race, your ethnicity, your religion, your sexual orientation. If you're a liar, you're a liar, and I'm gonna call you out on lying. So that's what he gets. But I wonder what his sentencing is gonna be, right? Like, what type of jail time do you get for something like this?
Hopefully a lot.
Nah, I think he would deserve maybe like 2 years. Like, remember the Claremont twins that like spent that dead man's money?
You know why?
She got like a year. So give him like a year or two.
The reason why is because like,
Cause why? Like, why'd you do this?
yeah, there's so many stupid things about it, but it's like, damn, like when people, because that was my issue with Kanye for so much of the stuff that he was doing. Like, if you want to do something to hype your name up, get your money up, and get yourself more attention, do whatever you got to do. But when that's at the expense of a group of people, then I have an issue, because then immediately I already knew what was going to happen, and now anytime anybody gets attacked, it was fake, it was staged.
That's what people were saying, that like he literally actually made for our movement like take steps backwards.
Took 1,000 steps backwards, because now nothing is believed.
You caused literally more harm than good. So taxpayers' money going into the search, and
well, he has to pay for that.
Yeah.
It was like 100 or something.
Wow, I'm sure that Empire check is not hitting like that.
No, it's only 100,000. He was getting paid a lot per show.
From Empire. I mean, he was a main character. I haven't watched that show in so long.
He might have been getting maybe a little bit less than that.
I'm pretty sure he was like the main character's son, like
per episode.
Okay, so hopefully he's saving.
But that was a few years ago.
Yeah, hopefully he's good at saving.
But
it's just pointless. Like, I don't get it. Like, what was the motive? Money, attention. Like, what was the motive?
It was attention, and well, I think it was more so to give his career more of a kickstart, because that's one of those things where now you're being talked about in media where you weren't before.
And it's like Jussie Smollett a year later after his traumatizing thing, and it's like, yeah, I'm working on projects. I'm gonna create a whole movie. Like, he probably was about to make a documentary on this. He probably had a plan. He was gonna make a whole like video on it, make a movie about it.
Yeah, that's why I don't particularly care about what the jail time is. And I know you're supposed to, the black code, we're all supposed to stick together.
I never felt that way.
But I ain't sticking together.
You wrong.
Yeah, dude.
If anything, if you messed up, you like, I can't have black code with you when you literally went against black code. You made us look crazy now.
Yeah.
Like, literally, if something actually happens in the future, like an actual hate crime, people are gonna question it. Then like, oh, is this a Jussie moment?
Yeah. So I don't rock with him. So obviously, I'm not insensitive. I'm not saying give the man 50 years for lying, but it's like, I'm not gonna be as compassionate, because it directly hurts us.
Yeah.
In a way that you really can't measure, because you really don't ever know. It's not like you don't ever really truly know
like the impact.
The impact, because so much of like the racism and stuff in these companies and stuff that you may be dealing with, you really don't ever know it. Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is micro.
But some stuff is even macro.
Yeah,
you just wouldn't even know it, because it just doesn't.
It's not our scope.
It's not in your face.
Yeah. And that's the crazy part. If you saw a lot of quote retweets with this, like, Donald Trump's son was involved, because like, I guess like Al Sharpton got involved, like, and so he quote tweeted Al Sharpton's tweet like from when it happened, like, you feel stupid now, like something along those lines. Like, how do you feel now? Like, now you have somebody, Donald Trump's son, that's like bringing a lot of attention to that. That's just bad. It's bad for us now. It's bad.
Yep. So good luck to him. Or not.
Ruined his whole career for nothing. Stupid.
Yeah, that was pointless. Could have just
made better art.
yeah.
Worked hard.
Could have got what you wanted. But yeah, we briefly brought up well, not briefly, but we always talk about Kanye every show, but we just
Kanye had a crazy week.
he had a very wild week. Where did it begin?
I think this is his year. I think 2021 is going to be like one of his like best years.
I saw somebody say that, but I feel like I don't agree with that.
Why? Like, think about everything that happened this year, right? Like, he was kind of quiet. It was like, all right, with Kanye. Like, he just kind of went ghost after the whole election thing, right? So, you know, everybody was still kind of calling him out. Like, he had that whole campaign thing where he was crying. Like, it was kind of a mess. His campaign was a mess. Then he went ghost, and we was like, where is he? I think one of the first things we heard from him. Do you remember what it was? I think it was like an interview. Wasn't it that interview where somebody went to Wyoming? Who was that went to Wyoming? And they did the interview in one of his tents. Is that Charlemagne?
Charlemagne did an interview, but I don't think that was this year.
That might have not been this year, but I feel like it was.
I don't think it was.
Maybe it was last year. But you know what I'm talking about. He was in his tent with him. Like in one of his little Wyoming tents.
Honestly, whatever Wyoming, Kanye, anything, I didn't watch it.
Kanye, Wyoming interview. Let's see.
It would have been Charlemagne if anybody.
I feel like I don't know why I feel like it really was Charlemagne.
It probably was, but that was last year, I think.
Oh yeah, no, it was Nick Cannon. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh,
the
that
Nick
one.
Cannon interview.
Yeah, I never watched that one.
That was September 1st, 2020. So that was last year. Okay, so never mind. So yeah, well, I think the first thing we heard from him this year then was Donda release. So he was ghosted, I think, for the first half of the year. And then he kind of popped out and like, you know, we hear new music. We're like, oh, are we getting new music? You know, you never know with him. We got that Donda rollout, which was like one of probably the best music rollouts ever. It's definitely up there, you know, very unique. The visuals, the rollout, the show, like the live stream of him working out, like and sleeping, like it was just iconic. Like the costumes, building his childhood house in a stadium, like, and then the Gap release, like that was announced. I think that might have been announced last year, right? The Yeezy Gap thing. But then this year, actually, you know, obviously you see the stuff is coming out, the STEM player, and then you have that Drink Champs interview was probably one of his best interviews ever, you know, and then you roll that into him and Drake fix things and have this Larry Hoover event. And now he popping out Rolling Loud. Like, I don't know, it's a pretty iconic year. Pretty successful year. And I think as far as his brand and reputation, definitely a big year for that. Obviously the biggest negative of this year for him was his marriage struggles, you know. But overall, I think he got a lot of people back in his like good side, you know. A lot of people were happy about that concert. You know, they heard all the throwbacks. And once you hear those throwbacks, it brings you right back to those moments, right? And all of a sudden you forgive everything. You're like, I forgive Kanye for all this craziness over the years. I will say, though, and I'm not talking about you specifically because we talked about this already, but there's people that wasn't rocking with Kanye during 2018, wasn't defending him, and all of a sudden now are like super fans. Like, I need people to keep that same energy because I'm peeping all over Instagram. I'm like, I remember you tweeting about Kanye all the time during that time, calling him crazy, mocking his mental health. But now it's Kanye so iconic. You know, keep that same energy. See, at least you're consistent. It's not like you on social media right now riding him. You know, like you were disappointed during that era, the 2018 era, and you are consistent. Like, you know, you still love him, you like his music, you still love his legacy, but you still feel the way you feel. There's people who all of a sudden are switching up because it's cool to like him again. I don't like that. Because I was fighting crazy. Like, my tweets were crazy during that time. Like, I was like, bums. You guys are paying resale for Yeezys, but you're on the internet talking about him. Like,
but you need to stop doing that because you need to find specific examples of people doing it.
No, but my examples are very specific. I'm not gonna say it because I don't know who's watching our podcast, but I literally see tweets. I know people personally like that said stuff about Kanye, and it's just like no. Like, I'm not just making this stuff up. I follow like a lot of people from like that, and I know people personally that like set up like senior year in college. Everybody was on my neck, literally, like friends, line sisters. what's going on with Kanye now? Like everybody always asks me because they knew I was like a crazy fan. Like you need to like not support him, like blah blah blah. So that's why it makes me mad because now in that same breath, you people are buying up the Yeezys, paying the resale, buying the slides, playing Donda, posting up on your story, and it's just like. So that's why, like, I'm not just making stuff up. Like, I see it. I seen the people who were following the trends. Same thing with Nicki. I seen mad tweets for people who were bashing Nicki, bashing Kanye. It was all around that same time for some reason. 2018, which is like the year of canceling my two favorite artists. Like, that was a rough year, literally. The Nicki hate train and then the Kanye like MAGA stuff. Like, that was just, whew, a lot. And I seen the tweets. I seen like people that just were jumping. Like a lot of people are sheep. We talked about this before. A lot of people just follow what's cool. People don't want to be that opposing view. Like I didn't care to stand on what I stood on. Like Kanye, I don't care. Like he literally is like my top artist. Like literally, I only have like 3 favorite artists, and he's number 1. And then Nicki's number 2, and then Beyonce is number 3. Like I literally. His music was like so impactful for me that I didn't care what he did. If he raped somebody, okay, yeah, I want to be a fan. But I didn't feel like what he did was that crazy. His
You could have went
political,
to any other example.
no, I'm saying his political views, like, okay, like I'm not gonna cancel, I'm not gonna not listen to like his political views. Like it's just like certain stuff is just like, people were doing the most and like misinterpreting that whole slavery was a choice thing. Like people wanted to be purposely obtuse and not critically think about what he meant and not just realize that he's a bad public speaker, that he can't really get what he get across, but take what he said and actually listen. Because everybody wants to be like, oh my God, he's crazy. He's crazy. It's so easy to just call somebody crazy and laugh at people instead of actually critically thinking about what they said and what they meant. Like, it's just crazy. And then that's why he said slavery was a choice, because look how you guys act. Like, you guys are mentally enslaved. That's why you guys all like him now, because everybody else likes him. That's literally what he meant. You guys literally just follow what's cool. You're in this trapped mindset. And I just don't like that. I don't like that. Stand on what you said in 2018. If you're not a fan of him and you want to cancel him, stand on that. Don't be cool. Don't like him now because people are liking him again. Don't like him now because he dropped a fire album. Don't like him now because this was a crazy year for him. Like, don't like him now because he is cool with Drake and put on a good show and did all throwbacks. Stand on what you said back in 2018. That's all, you know? You guys know how I get. I get in my Kanye bag because, like I said, when music has an impact on me and my life and my confidence and my who I am as a person, I can only give my like energy into defending that person. Like people might think it's weird. Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe I might be weird. Kanye don't know me, but like I said, I don't know if you have music like that really changed you, but his music changed me. Like when I felt like I was so like in like a space where I was like, dang, everybody keeps making fun of me. Then you have people like Nicki and Kanye, where their whole music is about being confident and cocky. I was like, literally having both of them in my ear, music wise, made me the way who I am. And then my mom, obviously. So like that combination of all their music and my mom's spewing confidence to me made me realize, okay, yeah, I'm skinny now. Nobody likes me, but I'm gonna glow up and I'm gonna be popping. And look what happened. So that's why Kanye is such a key place in my heart. You know? And I'm going to defend him until I'm off this planet.
All right, what else we got?
No, we had to unpack.
There's nothing to unpack.
No, I just got my ish off, so you could talk about. If you don't think this was an iconic year for him? Like you don't think this was why one of the years on the books for him?
Not really. Not in the way that people think it is. I think he's done a lot wilder stuff and a lot better stuff than this. This to me wasn't really that crazy. Like
maybe sorry to interrupt, but maybe it's more so the comeback that was like if people are so happy about because it's like this was maybe this was like a comeback year, so it was a great year because of the comeback.
But I don't even think it was a comeback. I just think that he wasn't doing shows, and now he does shows.
But it kind of was a comeback. What music has he really dropped since 2018? Like, I mean, he dropped Jesus is King. What was that? That was 2019?
He dropped 2 Jesus is King albums, and he dropped...
That was 2019, though.
And he dropped Yay.
Yeah, that was 2018, though. So like what I'm saying, what happened really between like late 2019 to now to 2021? Like
But a lot of people,
2020 was like off the grid. Like he really was gone.
but that's a year. To me, that's not a big deal.
But I feel like it is a big deal when you have somebody who's consistently in the media, consistently was on Twitter. You know, he was just consistently out there, consistently doing interviews. Then he just went off the grid after running for president. You know, I mean, well, I guess you could say he wasn't really off the grid in 2020 because he was campaigning. So yeah, he was still relevant. He was still in the news. But there was a while where he was ghost, and you would just get random pictures of him. You're like, ooh, he lost weight. Like you just it was like random pictures of him like that was just popping up, and it was like. But then this year was like comeback. We heard like he seemed like he's in a good place mentally, despite his relationship. The music was good, the rollout was good, more products, more billions. The shoes are still going up. Everybody's still rocking the stuff. Everybody wants to talk crazy about the shoes, but they buy them once they realize that everybody else is buying them. I don't know. But I see what you mean though, because like you taking a 20-year career, you can't say this might have been his best year in a 20-year career, but I think it's up there.
Okay.
But you know, we have differing opinions. What do you think was one of his best years then? Or like best era?
His best era is for sure Dark Twisted Fantasy era. Even just 2010 to 2013, if you really look at the impact of those 3 years on music in general, he dropped Dark Twisted Fantasy, Watch the Throne, and Yeezus within a 3-year period. And when you think about everything else that happened within there, because within that time frame was songs like Mercy and everything else, and like even just the simple way that
Good Fridays too, right? Was that
yeah,
time?
Good Fridays was all of the leaks leading up to Dark Twisted Fantasy that he put out one song every Friday. And you know, all the album covers had that red font,
Yeah,
like, and
the
all that
big
stuff,
words.
like, and just the impact that those things had.
Yeah.
It was fashion, like Givenchy was a thing.
The
And
Yeezus tour merch, the long line, that's when all that started to come appear.
yep, all that stuff, like that was
The those what were those pants? They were like the light blue pants that had like all the lines on it. What were those pants called? They were like ribbed. Remember? Like
the biker pants.
yeah, that was like that era.
There was a lot of things going on within those 3 years, but it's tough to compare 3 years to 1 year. So, excuse me, a year that was better than. I would have to think. I'm not like the Kanye encyclopedia, but I would have to really think about it. But I don't. I just think that it was more heightened because of the lack of seeing him versus what really happened.
But what really happened was lit though. Like you had to admit that Donda rollout, you never seen a rollout like that ever with any album. There was no other album I anticipated as much as Donda. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a Kanye fan. I haven't anticipated any other album like that just based off the rollout. Like everybody else's rollout is so predictable, you know, and so like uniform. His was different. Like you felt like you was a part of the album. Like you felt like you was kind of a part of the development of it still in this, like this later stages.
I actually hated it.
Did?
I think it was interesting to tour an album that didn't come out yet, but that whole like this sounds unfinished or this verse is this and all that, like I don't like that. Like
But it was cool though. You don't think it was cool to hear like hear from how it started and then hear how it finished now?
No, I actually don't care. If you're gonna do that, for me personally, put it in a documentary because then that's easier to.
Yeah.
I like that better because all it did was make me not like the album more. Because when it came out, then it was like
felt like you heard it
I
already,
was like,
yeah.
okay, cool. Like this, not really.
But do you at least feel like it was like a kind of like iconic? Like, you know, he had the 3 different themes. Like he had the one where it was just him, you know, like walking around, and he had the one where it was like the live stream thing, like, you know, him living in the stadium. Like, do you feel like all that hype was like really like lit? Like you never seen nobody living in a stadium and then they live stream themselves taking naps. Like it was just so random, and like that was what makes it so like iconic. And then, you know, he had the bed and the weights out in the middle of the floor, like, and then obviously the last show was like the most put together, like with the house, building his childhood house, like that's just so like nobody who's doing that. Nobody's building their childhood house like on the stadium. Like that's, you gotta admit, that's something like iconic. Like
This
that's
is gonna sound like hating, but anything that he does is that he could do literally anything, and people would react the same way, and it would be viewed as iconic. But I still look at it without that lens.
but who's building a childhood home in the stadium?
Yeah, but let me address it. Him live streaming himself like in the stadium like that, like okay, like
It was funny though, and so random and cool. Like, why are
it
we
wasn't
watching?
cool.
No, but it's like, why are we watching Kanye sleep? Like that was funny. Like I've been on Twitter, like, why are we watching him sleep?
I was never watching him sleep.
I was.
But it's just like I just gotta look at it for what it was. So on a larger scale, he has the money to be able to do multiple shows in a huge arena. So okay, not everybody has the funds to be able to do that. Touring an album that didn't come out yet is a very cool, interesting idea, because typically those releases used to be the album release parties used to just be for industry people.
Yeah, and we were able to be basically a part of that.
But it being unfinished, or just hearing the album before it came out, made me really not anticipate the album, because then once I got it, like it was like it took away all of the reaction that I got from like albums
That
before.
first initially hearing it, yeah.
And it's like, oh,
What about the changes though? The later change that happened, like him adding that off the grid verse was like that was literally the last minute change. Like
once I heard Fabio's verse, I didn't care about Kanye's verse. I actually, if you're not in the car and I'm listening to that song, I actually skip Kanye's verse.
his verse is last.
Yeah, I turn the song off. I change it to the next song. First of all, I'm actually conditioned to do that because
You had the leak.
I had the leaks, and I was
Yeah.
listening to the song, and then Fabio's verse that ended the song. So once that happened, I'm like, once I hear it now, I'm like, okay, well, the song's over.
Yeah,
I forget.
I'm used to Kanye's because I'm like first to go viral, then it get digital, then it get.
And this is no
critical,
hate. This is
online
not-
doing no interviews. Mask on your face, you can see when I.
This is
finish
not
it.
because of me not liking his verse or whatever. It's just because it's like, it messed me up. Like, I can't.
I definitely get what you mean because it would have been so lit, like knowing we got a new Kanye album and be like, oh my god, Kanye album, and like then sitting here listening to it, you know,
sit with
that would have been like lit. But then we kind of knew what we were getting. Like I already knew what songs I wanted to go to when the album came out. I was like,
And then there's stuff that I don't like. Like, I don't like the way he changed the beat on Praise God. Like, I don't like it. Like, I really do not like the way the beat ended
I'm
up
used
being
to it now, but yeah, I remember originally it was
way
better.
harder. Mm-hmm. And then when that happens, it's like, well, why did you do that? Because then it makes me not like the song now. Because now it's like one of my.
You should never. Yeah, it's like you should never give it to us like that. Then
So I'm sitting here like tearing apart everything that he's done, but in my opinion, I would have to really think about it. But I feel like he's had a lot crazier years.
I don't really mean. I don't think maybe the word's not really crazy, but it's just like the comeback. Like that's what I feel. Like I feel like he said he wasn't gonna do this again. Now like he's performing old songs. He said he wasn't gonna do that anymore. So it's just like we getting that old feel back. Like you got to think he hasn't toured since we've seen him. We were juniors in college. Like we're literally 25. Like we were 20.
Yeah, but what
So
I'm saying,
but I'm saying so much time has passed since he even performed. So just seeing him pop out at Rolling Loud. Like I think that's the first time ever being at Rolling Loud.
but that's why I think you got to separate what it is, because somebody doing a show is not like, it's not crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody's saying that it's crazy. It's just that it's because we literally thought like it might have been over. Like, okay, Kanye's never performing again, so there's no hope for a tour. We're never going to see him perform. Imagine you were in that Rolling Loud crowd, knowing that Kanye was never going to perform again, and this man really runs out of nowhere and he starts performing one of his old songs. Like I would literally probably would have went into shock and like passed out.
But that's what I'm saying. Look at what, like, I can't take a year where he toured, like the Glow in the Dark tour, for example, or the Watch the Throne tour. I can't look at any of those tours and then look at Kanye and him doing a show and like compare the
But
two.
I think you're not really seeing it in the way I'm trying to really.
No,
explain
I see it, but
What,
I
like,
just disagree.
What people are saying why the year is so iconic, it was the predictability factor. The reason why I'm a Kanye fan is because he's not predictable. I hate predictability. I hate knowing an artist's gonna drop. They have a set tour schedule. It's just so mundane. This was such an unpredictable thing. Like he said he was never gonna perform again, and he hasn't performed since his mental breakdown. And then he comes out.
I don't know if he said
And
that.
it does no, he did say that. Remember, he said, "I'm not doing my old songs anymore. I'm not cursing." He literally said he
Yeah, he
wasn't
said he wasn't
performing.
gonna
Yeah, but he
curse.
said he wasn't performing his old songs too. Like he wasn't performing his old songs. He was just gonna perform like his Christian hip hop music. He said he wasn't performing his old songs. So you have somebody who said that, who now that might have been in a stage. He might have been in a jaded mindset. He might have not really been thinking clear and just was saying that in the moment because of how he was feeling. But now you have somebody who hasn't been on tour since 2016. that ended bad. Like that tour ended very like sad. And then you have that happen. Then you have this year, and all of a sudden, like who would have went into this year thinking we were gonna get a Drake Kanye show, and then he was gonna pop out Rolling Loud. Like that's why it's the unpredictability factor. Like Kanye has never performed at Rolling Loud. In my knowledge, he hasn't performed ever at Rolling Loud. So for him to just pop out with Future, like that's why the year is so iconic in my eyes, because there was no predictability. Like, and that's what makes him so relevant throughout all these years, because he does what he wants, and it's like he stays relevant because he's not mundane, he's not predictable, he's not like, okay, I'm gonna do this show, this like, no, everything about this year was so unpredictable. I would never went into this year thinking I was gonna get a new Kanye album, 3 listening parties, a show with Drake, and a Rolling Loud appearance. Like I wouldn't went into this year thinking that. But then you have somebody like Travis, unfortunately he's getting cut from shows, but okay, Travis is probably dropping Utopia, and then he's going to perform at Coachella. This is like, what his year is going to look like. Oh, he's announcing the shoe, Cacti's coming out. Like, what you're getting. With Kanye, it was so just random. Like the STEM player, like he just announced it. It's like, oh, what is this? Like, it's just the non-predictability factor that I like about him. And I think that's what people really mean when they say this year is so iconic, because like you didn't see any of it coming. Nobody would have predicted any of this, like at all, going into this year, So, but then when other people do stuff, it's like, oh well, it's Drake, he does this. Like I never got like any other artist that caught me off guard and surprised me with anything except Kanye and Beyonce. Because when Beyonce dropped Lemonade, like that's why her dropping Lemonade was such a moment, because it was so random, And that's why that's one of the most pivotal moments of her career. And you take that, and then you take that at the in like Kanye perspective, and that's his whole career, being unpredictable. And then you take a one moment in Beyonce's career, that's literally one of her most pivotal highlighted moments. And you're like that, but then you think about it, like that's really Kanye's 2021 was a Lemonade. He literally had a Lemonade of 2021, But we don't have to agree. But that's just my perspective, like that. It was an iconic year because of the unpredictability factor. Might not have been his best year, for music. Obviously, like he had iconic tours. Like he's done some major worldwide tours and had some big moments in music, big sales, obviously first week major sales. And obviously the numbers this year were still really good. Like he was like number 1 in like almost every country except like one, I think. It might have been all countries, actually. It was like 180 something countries. It was crazy. But yeah, he had bigger numbers. He had years with bigger music, better music. But I think as far as like just the comeback, everybody loves him again. They feel like they got the old Kanye back, like people are saying that. Him doing F up the commas freestyles, like it's like what. And then that Drink Champs interview, like was just so like authentic. Like he obviously has some crazy interviews and he's like said some funny stuff. But this literally has so many gems. Like it was a really good interview, So yeah, sorry, that's my Kanye soliloquy. Is that the right word? So yeah, do you have a different perspective now?
No, I never debate or argue or just.
No, it doesn't have to. We're not arguing.
Well, okay, let me speak. I don't ever comment on anybody else's thoughts without fully understanding what they're saying first. So no, I don't feel differently. But anyway, the Kanye and Drake show happened. I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest with you.
I feel like it would have been better if it was more. It didn't feel cohesive. It didn't feel like it was organized properly. And then you have Kanye like, play the next song. Like it didn't feel organized. It didn't really flow.
Who needed the time for the Coliseum? That's my whole thought, because they were trying to cut off the time. I know you're only able to get a certain time who needed it after the fact? Like,
I hate that stuff, because I get like you have curfew laws. You don't want mad crowds of people out in the streets at a certain time. But yeah, we're grown. Like we're adults. Like why do we need curfews? Like it's just so whack. I feel like that's only LA. But New York did that too, though. I remember Rolling Loud. People were mad at Rolling Loud in New York.
You know what the thing is? I think the reason why, because I think obviously visually, it's always going to look fire. It's never going to not look fire. My issues, I'm always going to talk about my issues with it. Aside from it being a wild experience, my issues with the show, I'm going to say what I don't like and then I'll give praise after. I didn't like that's not the right way to say it. What I would have preferred is I like I feel like the songs that I really do like from an artist are not probably the songs that people would go to play from that artist. So like Kanye was playing, it was like the best of playlist, like the best of Kanye West playlist, which was cool. But like one person that I know that's like that is Tyler the Creator. So like there was this one show that Kanye was doing with Tyler. It might have been at Tyler's festival, but he performed. One of Tyler's favorite Kanye songs is a song called "Late" off of Late Registration, and I love that song too, especially because it's mad long and soul sample, all that good stuff. Nobody's ever really heard of that song. Like nobody goes to go play that song. So like I would have loved to hear Kanye perform songs, but like you can't do that. You can't perform some of those songs ever because it's not like a crowd song to listen to. Like I would love to hear Kanye rap like So Appalled or something like that, but that's not like something that he could rap for like a crowd because people wouldn't be into it because people are like, what is this?
I mean, it depends though, because like, you know, people have like their artists that they go to where it's literally just like that type of vibe, you know, like soul music. Like, you know, people go to like those intimate club settings and just be like bumping their head, like they're not getting raging. Like Kanye doesn't give me rage vibes, but you know, everybody wants the rage culture now, so that, you know, they put that everywhere. But like you go, like I feel like you, like, you know, he has some songs where you could jump around, you know, but I feel like if you're a real Kanye fan, you would be down for that So Appalled, and you were sitting there just like rapping every word, you know.
That's why
I just feel like it wasn't meant for a Drake Kanye concert. You know, you would have to do that strictly at a Kanye show.
Yeah, because I don't want to see All of the Lights, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the All of the Lights interlude is one of my favorite pieces of music ever. But
you might not necessarily want to like watch it in live, like.
Yeah, like I would want because like Jay-Z does the B-sides concert, which is where he just, I think he's done 2 of them, where he just performs songs that aren't hits.
Yeah, that's fire though.
That's super fire. Like I would want to hear that because like we've seen Kanye in person perform these songs. We've seen videos of him perform these songs. So for me, I want to see like some of those Kanye songs that I listen to that nobody else listens to, and the same thing from Drake because at Tyler's festival before when Drake got booed off the stage, that specific concert, Tyler wanted to see Drake perform a song that I think it was Feel No Ways was the song, which is not a song that people go to when they think of a Drake thing. Like you saw his set list, people don't go to those type of Drake songs, but I love that song. Tyler loves that song. He was sitting there dancing all weird. I would love to see that. Like I would love to see those 2 artists like do those songs. Like even him doing Find Your Love.
Yeah.
I like that because that's not even a Drake hit that people go to anymore.
Yeah. Like that's such an old song, like literally 2008, 9.
So to your point, obviously it's good to see Kanye perform his old songs because at one point it was looking like we would never hear those things. I'm not saying that wasn't a cool thing to see. Especially, I don't even know if I've ever seen a Find Your Love live performance.
Me neither.
I'm not really in tune with Drake's live performances, but I don't think I've ever even seen a video of that song being performed. So that was fire. That was one of my favorite songs, favorite beats back in the day. I used to run that thing on a loop. So that was cool to me, especially I know how much that meant to Drake to see your idol perform. I mean, it was Kanye's song too, but still perform your song
and know the story like of, you know, that moment.
Yeah, what that meant, that means, because I know how I would feel. So like that was fire to see. So basically, long story short, my criticism is the song choice. Obviously, I'm not going to tear Drake apart.
No, but his song choice was bad.
No, I know.
The fact that his own fans were dragging him on Twitter.
That's what I'm saying. It's low hanging.
They said that Larry Hoover is going to get the electric chair. They said that was his fault. They said he was trying. They said Drake thought this was a free Jussie Smollett concert.
Yeah, I didn't like Drake's song choice at all. I don't know what Kanye told him or why.
Yeah, people think Kanye told him like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna play our new stuff."
I don't know where the disconnect was, or I don't know.
Or he might just really been trying to push his album, you know, and
or
just, like, play the new stuff.
Could have been a bunch of things because this seemed like a last minute thing. It does take some time to. It's not an easy thing to just go run out on stage and perform a bunch of songs because like It's not like you sitting there bumping your own song all day long. Like I know
Yeah.
people may think like, you wrote the song, how do you not know the song? But it's like, yo,
And you got to think these people write so
Hundreds
many
of
songs, and there's so many songs that we haven't even heard, like thousands, hundreds of thousands of songs that we probably haven't even heard that are just that he just randomly wrote. You know,
it's probably impossible.
like they're not gonna remember, even if they have a hit. They're not really like they might remember. Like you could tell where Kanye was coming back to him because he performed them probably so many times. You know, like those are his best songs. But you know, people are gonna forget. Like I don't know why people judge that. Like he hasn't performed in 5 years, and he wrote so many songs, wrote stuff for other people. So it's like they're gonna forget.
In addition, like I want to see Drake perform Marvin's Room. I want to hear that. Like I want to hear like weird stuff. So like my preference on song choice is weird. I know that.
I would love to go to a concert because, like, you know, you have somebody like Drake and Kanye who have hype songs and like slow songs or like, you know, sad songs. Like, you know, you have Come to Life and then you have like Off the Grid in one album. So it would be cool to go to an album where you actually could go through like an emotional ride, you know, like take us through like certain songs and take us to some sad and then end it with like hype stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing bad about that though, like you might be in your feelings at one point and they're crying and they play. He's like, all right, we're gonna turn it up now. You like, I just cried for half an hour. Now you want to play your hype songs, but that'd be a cool experience. Yeah.
So all my criticism aside, it was obviously fire, crazy moment.
Mike Dean went crazy, of course, as always.
Yeah, you gotta relax. The transition from, and I'm sorry because I didn't really listen to CLB like that, so I don't remember the name of it, but that transition from Life is Good to the Kid Cudi song,
Yeah.
and the Virgil transition tribute thing, oh my God.
Yeah. That was good.
The producer in me wanted to just melt. It was beautiful. Loved it. That was very fire. And it was just, yeah, it was, aside from my weird preferences on track listing or song choice, whatever, fire.
Yeah. What do you think about Kanye basically making it known that he's on Travis's side? Like with him walking out to his first song that he played was literally the song that Travis was in, Praise God. And then, you know, Travis's verse is first. And then his very first word that whole night was literally the flame. So that was a clear message. Do you think, I mean, it's not shocking. Kanye literally just brought Marilyn Manson and the baby out, you know. So he knows what he's doing when he does stuff like that. But I think it's cool. I'm here for it. Be that person that's still going to stand up for your family. Even in a moment like this, you know, when the whole world is against them. Okay, he knows him better than we do. But it's still kind of like,
no.
maybe it's like a little insensitive
No.
to the victims, but
I don't feel like it is just because I don't feel like he's wrong. Like he did anything wrong.
yeah.
Like even, like it's so weird to me because like, do you, like, this is a super dry snitch, so I'm not even gonna really give you a specific example. But when people rap lyrics about shooting people, killing people, and then there's a shooting at the show or the club or whatever, like do we ever question the music and the lyrical content? I know that we do, but like we've never really killed an artist for their lyrical content because the question is like, does his music cause this? And like for me, his music don't hit like that to be like, let me correct myself. His music to me does not, it never
at all.
It never even enticed me to really get hyped. Like,
He doesn't really even speak violence in his music, as far as I know.
No.
It's usually just pretty like
He
his
just be
lyrics are
rapping.
his lyrics aren't like deep. It's just like he just be talking about his life, like talk about his song. Like in that one song, he's just about cacti, no iced tea. Like
I think it's just logic.
talking about his girl, like my baby mom was on Forbes. Like you don't really talk about like, oh, I'm gonna shoot people in the head. Like I never hear him say any of that stuff.
I just think that this whole case is pretty simple. One, he didn't physically crush anybody.
Yep.
And two, he didn't tell anybody to physically crush anybody. So that's it.
That's it.
So that's why I feel like
And he didn't see people being crushed. That like people want to act like he did. Like that's my whole thing. I'm like, the people are like really dumb. Like you think this man would literally ruin his own career purposefully, watching people die, knowing people were dying. Like that's just so crazy to me. That people would think that he really would purposely throw out his career. Like he's literally begging Coachella to perform. Like, he's off the lineup, and now he's literally begging them. He said, I'll perform for free. Like, he wants to do his art, you know? And that's sad that people would think that he will literally purposely do this and, like, purposely watch people get crushed and die and just, like, watch them. And it was a sacrifice. Like, dumb. And I'm glad that people are starting to see things, though, because it was like, I get it from a business perspective. You might not want to align yourself with that right now. You know, like, let it kind of, like, let the smoke clear, you know, let the lawsuits clear. But it's almost like, I just hate when this type of stuff happens, because I feel like they really do make an example when it's a black man. And, like, people could try to fight me on this, saying that everything's about race. No, everything is about race, because your white ancestors made everything about race. So yes, everything's about race, unfortunately, because of your ancestors. So yeah, I'm just had to, you know, assimilate to the society that I live in, and it is about race. Like, I feel like they really want to, like, publicly lynch him and, like, make an example out of him, you know? Everything is being shipped. I think the Cacti deal, people say that it was rumored that it was going to end anyway because the drinks didn't do well, which I'm not really shocked because the drinks weren't that good. But it's just a lot going on. Like, they're really, like, taking everything away. And you know, of course they did it with the baby, so it was like, but even in the baby situation seemed very amplified. Like, it seems very amplified with these black people. And a lot of the fans turn quick. Like, you're real quick to see the racism pop out, right? From, like, the fans. All of a sudden, like, it's a lot of scrutiny. Like why don't you have the same energy for your favorite rock star that literally married a 13-year-old when they were, like, 80? Like, where's the same energy? Where's the same energy for these artists that actually kill people, like, who literally actually with their hands killed people? Like, this is not the same energy, and that's why I don't like. So it's sad. A sad case all around. It's just messed up, and people were so quick to switch on him, right? Like, bringing back the Kanye thing, like, he did it again at last night at Rolling Loud. I'm about to show you the video. The crowd literally looked like they were dead. Like, you could see them right there. Like, they were looking around. They were like,
you gotta use better phrasing.
Sorry. Oh my God. The crowd was literally silent. Like, and they weren't moving. They were just, like, looking around each other. Like, you could tell you could tell people are doing that because they don't want to be that person that's like.
What happened?
I'll show you. Because he performed Praise God last night too.
Oh.
And he let Travis's verse play out, and he did the same thing. He just screamed "La Flame," and then they showed the crowd, and the crowd was kind of just like looking, you know. But I'll find it. You can talk about, like, how you feel about the whole thing. I'm gonna try to find it.
You don't need to show me. It's okay. I believe you.
Let me show you.
No, I don't care that much.
Nope, show you.
Yeah, it's it's very interesting. It's like a tough thing because luckily we have people like Eminem that it's like, yeah, I just don't want to get into a race thing. Maybe I'll save that for another day. But it's tough. We just got to own our own stuff.
Yeah, because imagine, like you said, I think you said this off camera. Imagine Kanye plans his own festival. Did you say that right?
Yeah, I was saying that. Yeah, I was saying,
imagine that. Obviously, Travis would be performing if Kanye, like, you be the Coachella, you be the Rolling Loud. Like, we need that. We need those people at the seat at those tables, like,
because they need you. Like, that's the thing about it. That Rolling Loud, if Drake, it's almost a statistical fact that if Drake stopped making music, that a lot of the industry, like, would fall apart. Like, that's not like a stretch or a reach. Like, he really does that much numbers, and UMG is such a massive company, and he's the breadwinner. And if he stopped making music, your favorite, well, maybe not your favorite artist, but a lot of artists would not get paid, or their contracts wouldn't be extended, because that's cutting off a significant portion of money. Like, that was the whole, if you're reading this is too late thing, was to get out of one of his deals. If he simply stopped making music, like, and what does that tell you?
Yeah.
So we need to get in our own, like, our own spaces, because you see every single thing that we do, they will they everything that we do business wise is set
makes
up
money.
is set up as a collab. Like the Cacti drink was with Anheuser-Busch, who makes like Bud Light and whatever, or Budweiser beer, whatever they make. Like everything is a partnership. Kanye makes Yeezys, but it's a partnership with Adidas.
Yeah.
Like
there's no real like
there's no real true ownership,
which is very unfortunate.
Like rappers have their own labels, but they're a subsidiary under another one, which is really how it is. Like nobody really owns, because Cactus Jack is a record label, but it's owned by another label, probably UMG. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't follow these things anymore because everybody has a label. Yeah, it's just not a lot of like real ownership with anything. Like nobody ever makes anything from scratch.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. And anything that is made from scratch is then sold to another company. Like Virgil had Off-White, sold it. That's unfortunate.
Because, imagine you would just kept it. Especially now that he's gone. The value is probably like way up.
Probably. So it's like
it's like nobody wants to be like, which I don't get, like why not be on the forefront? Like why not be like, this is mine 100%? Like I don't get it.
I think that it's mostly due to we don't have we're looking for entertainers to be business people, and that's not usually how it works. Like
I mean, it makes sense though, because they're not trained to be a business person.
Lucian Grange runs all of the music industry because he runs UMG, and UMG runs pretty much all the music and owns Drake's music. Lucian Grange works in the music business, but he doesn't work in music. Like he doesn't do music. So those people are literally business people. So they're able to take a company, build it into a unicorn. And he didn't build UMG by any stretch of the imagination. But we're looking at our artists with the expectation that they can do that. Like we don't look at any white artist, like we don't look at like Meghan Trainor, I don't know, Adele, any white person that makes music. We don't look at them in the same capacity. They kind of just make music. Taylor Swift, for example, like they all kind of just make their music and they sell really well and they just make a ton of money, but we never look to them to be business people. There's no Taylor Swift records.
Yeah. I mean, they'll do like perfume and stuff, but like that's usually a partnership.
We really do the most business.
Yeah.
But never own it. We just kind of like are...
like figureheads.
It's kind of like that quote from American Gangster where he was saying he worked for Bumpy Johnson and he thought he had his own company, but he was just managing it. Yeah. The white people were really the ones that owned it. That's kind of more or less that the way we operate is that we don't really own anything. We're just kind of partners. Like they would never. But that's why we have to have a business person that like makes something, and
keeps it like.
And then like. I don't know how to describe it. Right? Like we'll have, like, for example, like Travis will have Cactus Jack Records. He made that as a subsidiary, mostly for tax purposes, probably. But like he could have made his own thing outside of just Universal and built it from scratch. Nobody wants to build anything from scratch. Like I'm sure Kanye would, and it's not that it's easy. I'm not saying that anything's easy, but Kanye probably doesn't want to go out and get the manufacturing partnerships to go and make his own clothing line from scratch. That's why. And the reason
being though is probably because like he just doesn't have time. Like he has other careers, he has a family,
which I feel like is a problem. Like we need more people
like who are willing to go do that.
Yeah, that are willing.
Then you hire everybody, and that's it. Like you're Gucci after that. Like
then there's nothing left. Nothing left.
You just need to build a foundation. Because can you imagine if like, I know this Travis incident is so sensitive, but can you imagine if a lot of them had his back? And then they all decided to like drop out of Coachella. They decided to drop out of the Rolling Loud. Like they would, these festivals would literally collapse without Black people, unless you have like a EDC, like the electric dance one, the techno people. But all these people at all these these huge festivals, a majority of them are hip hop artists. Imagine they all decided to have Travis back for Coachella, especially, right? Nobody would do that because they want the bag and they don't want that hate of defending somebody who's getting this blame. But But like you said, like imagine how
they'll
cool that would be if Kanye had his own, like, you know, he had a festival called the Yeezy Festival, and like you have all these people, like everybody who's on Don, that have their own it's like lineups and everything.
and you hire your own private security detail and you do everything yourself. Obviously, that liability would be insane, but
Yeah.
but that's what insurance is for. And you can still hire people to help you with planning the event, but it's different than somebody like owning the event. Like Live Nation owns those venues. Like it's a lot different. Like you having your own venue, like he could have done anything. Like people do a bunch of random stuff. Like you could buy a plot of land and just do anything with it. Like you could put anything anywhere. And like people clown people that do stuff like that. But Akon trying to make his own city, like that's like the real like, because that's no different than what like they like we when we do it, is looked at
But
as
if a
crazy.
white person did, if Elon said they can build his own city, I'd be like, oh my God, Elon's such a genius. He always come up with something new to do.
And this is less white hate and more
Black criticism.
black criticism
Yeah.
than anything. Because then you're not allowed to get kicked out.
And it's only like my thing is, of course we're behind because of racism and like segregation and slavery. But there's only so much times where we could keep making excuses, especially when we have people in that position where they could do these things and are still not doing it. You know, so that's what makes it kind of frustrating. Because there's so much power. Like if black people could really see, especially the black entertainers, like sports, music, if they could really see like how much value they have, this world will literally collapse without our impacts. Pop culture would collapse. People will literally be lost. They will have no personalities. They will have no music. They will have no fashion sense. They will have nothing. Our culture literally runs the freaking world. Specifically African Americans. Like we literally run the world right now. Who knows if it will shift eventually. But culturally, yeah. But we're just cool. Everybody's talking in Av. They want to fight. Like people will literally want to fight on TikTok about, like they don't want to respect black people's boundaries. Like people, there was a whole thing where black women were saying they don't feel comfortable with white women calling them sis, because you're not my sis. Like you're not. And they're like, since when is sis a slur? Like they try to be purposely obtuse when nobody said that sis was a slur. We just said stop saying it to us. Like that's it. Don't call us sis. And they want to argue in the comments. Y'all are so dumb talking about don't say sis. Like, and then they'll be like who you think you are? Like basically talking in Av. I'm like, how you not respecting black people and our boundaries and what we're asking you, but then talking in our slang, in our native language. Like I said, lost without us. No personalities. Nothing.
I said I didn't want to
No
make this
TikTok dances. All the TikTok dances, the top TikTok dances, the songs of 2021, I think it was like one white artist in there. It was like driver's license or whatever. Everything else was black artists. No, all the dances, Santana, the whole Material Girl thing, all the trends, the what's not clicking Steven, black person, all the little sayings, you know, everything.
And we need to grow outside of that.
Everything is literally us.
It's cool and all, but we need to grow outside of that because that's all we.
Yeah, we're just entertainment.
I said this in Target the other day. That's all we're known for.
It's like the minstrel shows. We're just entertainment.
So many of the other races, like even though people might find it offensive, but they say Chinese people are good at math and all those different things. I would love to be known for math, or Jewish people being with money. I would love to be known for making money.
And we're known to just be the cool, edgy, cultural, creative.
And while I love it, we need to grow outside of that too. And we haven't had a lot of time to do that realistically, but we got to eventually move on.
We need to have it. Like that would be such a vibe to be like business, like smart business people, but still have that coolness to us. That would be a flex.
Yeah. Once these certain people, older generations start to die off, it'll get better.
I really do wonder if things are ever going to change culturally though, or if people are going to forever like ride the Black American wave.
I think that we allow them to do so. Because like, what is?
Yeah, we don't gatekeep enough for me.
What realistically? I don't know. It's tough because then you're saying that segregation is cool, but
it's really hard because like I get like there's like a line between like appreciation, right? Like people really might just think we're so cool and just like, but then it does get to a point where it's like there's a lot of racist people, or a lot of people who are like not like blatantly racist, but still like racist, have racist undertones, still feel the way they feel about us, but then consume our culture and act like us. So it's like, it's very weird because like, where's the respect aspect? Like I said, people were asking white women to stop calling us sis, and they were arguing with us about well, we won. They respect let a gay person come on TikTok and say what their boundaries are. Call me he, she, it. But sorry.
Jesus.
But God.
No, we might have to cut that one out.
No, wait. This is me. I don't even care.
I might have to.
No, baby.
I might have to edit that one.
No, but for real, it's just annoying because like they can say that what they want to be called or what they want to identify as, but God forbid I say please don't call me sis because you're not black and I feel uncomfortable because you're not my sis.
Why don't people...
Like sis is from Christians use the word sis too. They use it in a different context. Don't play with me. You know, black woman use sis and where it came from. It came from literally our sisterhood being called sisters. That's where it came from originally. Is the sisters. Then it got the shortened to sis. Yeah, other people say sis too in other contexts, but they don't say it in the same dialect. They don't say it in the same undertones, and they don't say it like I'm saying it to my fellow black woman as you my sis. Like we might not be related, but we have the same experience. I don't have the same experience with you, white woman. You're not my sis. Don't call me that. And then they get mad. But they respect gay people's boundaries. They respect dogs. Dogs get more respect than us. They respect dogs. Be ready to call Peter. But God forbid I say don't call me sis. And it's, y'all are so sensitive. Whoa. First of all, relax with the Av. Like, because y'all is a Southern thing, but it's also a Southern black thing too. Like, you know, like y'all is obviously, you know, white people, Southerners use it too, but that's still Av. Like when people who are like non-African Americans, like other black people across, like around the world, they got that from us. Like they got that from black Americans, the y'all thing, because that's literally an American thing. And then when other black people use it, they use it because of us. So it's like, I need everybody just to put some respect on our names because you guys would have no personalities without us. Because this is not an act. This is me. This is what I was raised in. This is what my parents act like because that's my culture. I'm not appropriating it. I don't have to fake it. Like, that's what I was raised around. I didn't pick up people's personalities in school. Like, no, this is what my parents talk like. And then this is me. Like, I'm not putting on a front. You could tell when people put on a front because it's like they have different personalities with different people, you know? So they need to put some respect, right? Like, how are we going to ask for boundaries and then still use our terminology? So I don't know. Like, it makes you wonder because, you know, we were obviously been conscious since maybe like kindergarten, right? But then culturally conscious, I probably didn't really start understanding our impact until maybe like high school. So I really do wonder if if there's ever going to be a worldwide shift because literally the whole world is so fixated on black culture. Like, it's really scary. It's actually really, really scary. It's like, oh my God, did you see that too? Marvel has some game. Did you see that? And it's like literally, we have so many counts. Literally, oh wait, oops, this is the wrong count. Oh my God.
I really didn't want this to be a race thing because I hate politics. Like,
no, it's not really a race thing.
It is. No, we just went on a race thing for like 30 minutes.
Nah, it was like 10 minutes. Because we just were talking about...
this pod is supposed to be for entertainment.
It is entertainment. This right here. You know this. Where this came from. Right?
Mm-hmm.
From this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just crazy because, like, did those people get paid? Probably not. And it's just like the fact that like that's why I literally just said it's the way black culture touches everything for me. Like, we're literally everywhere. The memes, the gifs, like the sayings, and it's like annoying.
It's entertaining. It's entertainment.
Yeah, because outside of that, people don't act like that at home. But with their parents, they don't act like that with their friends. Well, they probably do still act like that with their friends. But that's what I'm saying. As a whole, as pop culture, do you think it will ever shift outside of African American culture?
I think it depends on how you look at it because we think that, I don't even know if it's so much a thought, like so much of it is influenced by that stuff, but there really is a whole other world that's outside of us.
That's true. I can't live in a bubble.
Because hip hop is, I wonder why they say it's the most popular genre because numbers wise it really isn't. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, you see the Billboard charts though, like it's always like, it's predominantly like hip hop and pop.
Which is interesting because the sales don't translate because then you get a Taylor Swift album or an Adele album and it blows out every single album and it's not even a little bit close.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
But you gotta admit though, a lot of those people that listen to Taylor Swift and Adele consume both. But they're gonna stick by like their artists, but they definitely consume both. They definitely are part of that like online
But I don't know
pop
if you could
culture.
say that though.
No, but you can't. 'Cause a lot of Taylor Swift fans will still be on the internet speaking in AF.
Because for example, like you take like any Michael Bublé album,
Mm-hmm.
it does very well. There's not a single person that's black that listens to Michael Bublé, but that's like a whole other like area of culture that
Yeah.
people consume because there is stuff that exists outside of us.
Yeah, and I really had to think about that too, especially in other countries. I'm sure they literally are in their own world. They're not even thinking about us, not acting like us,
You
not
heard
talking
we,
like us.
we just simply were in St. Martin and didn't hear a single,
Yeah, they listen to the island music.
not a single hip hop
And
song.
they didn't talk AF, they talk in their language. So yeah, you're right. Maybe it's the big headedness in us, but I think maybe it's not though, because it's like I think it's more so like I don't know, it's like a niche of people around the world in every country, because like remember we even in St. Martin that we did see those girls that might have been natives that were like staring us down, and they looked like they were like more on the try to assimilate the Black American style, the swag, the hair, the makeup, like you could tell like they were maybe trying to get that off. And who knows what their online activity might look like, what their music taste might look like. So you're still going to get those everywhere. But I feel like maybe it's not really smart to say that it's really like the whole world trying to be like us, It's just pop culture and hip hop culture that's trying to be like us,
Why not not use those apps?
Good point.
Because that's the definition of insanity, is to complain but still put out all of that stuff to
Yeah.
everyone.
And literally black people said they was going to do that TikTok ban where they said we weren't going to make dances. That lasted like a week.
Just like the Gucci band.
Like
and
let's
everything else.
actually do it and let's see, because that would be hilarious. Like it really would be funny if they collectively decided to stop making dances, stop making up sayings,
Yeah. Because you can have your own, like you can do the same thing. Like you can make a TikTok and not, because TikTok's not even a white company either.
Yeah, it's Asian.
So like we can do the same thing. Like there's also rich black people that aren't in entertainment too. Like let's make that extremely clear. There's black business owners, black moguls that are outside of music and entertainment. There's definitely those that exist. We can make a TikTok, but we're just so ingratiated and that's not even the right word. Entrenched would be the better word.
Yeah, we're still entrenched into like entertainment culture.
No, we entrenched into their apps.
Yeah, instead of making our own.
There could be a literal identical black Twitter if it had the same functionality, same everything, and people still wouldn't use it.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, I think a lot of us still kind of feeding off that white acceptance. Like I feel a lot of people definitely get off on the fact that we're so cool, and that they imitate us. It's like, who cares? Let's cut them off and just do our own thing. Like, but we'll never do that. But once they want them in our faces, But I can imagine it being so much more fun. Like, and like you said, it sounds like, oh, they want segregation again. It's like, no. But then again, some people said segregation might have been a better thing. Like, who said that? Malcolm X? Somebody said that. I think it was Malcolm X. I'm sorry. I should know.
I was about to make a joke and say I said that, but
no, I think it was like Malcolm X. Somebody said, no, I don't think it was him, but somebody said they feel like segregation was better for the black man.
it was
than
flourishing.
integration. Yeah, we had our own stuff. We were just doing our own thing. Why do we want to be a part of their culture so bad? They don't even like us. Why? Like, we could do our own thing and then they could really be hating from outside the club and seeing like we really whack. Like, and not saying that white people are whack, but like just as far as not, culturally and entertainment wise, like there's a lot that they really do. I don't know what it is about black people. Like, why are we so cool? I don't know. I don't know if it's just in our DNA, if it's passed down,
What it really is,
I don't know.
is because it's not so much that we're cool, because cool is all about perception. Because there's a whole handful of other race people that would be like, ew.
Yeah, like cool is what you make it.
The only reason why it's cool, or why it was cool, why it's perceived as cool, whatever, is because it's the same infatuation with people and with rich people. Like, rich culture is a thing. People love rich culture so much because they're not a part of it.
Yeah.
So they're interested in it. They want to see what that's like.
Yeah.
So black people, it's like, oh, what do they mean when they say that? They just want to know. It's just curiosity.
Yeah, because we're considered a minority. We've been segregated for so long. We've been like the lower class that we had. Like, that's literally why that's why I specifically say Black Americans, because we literally were forced into these like things, and we had to make up code language. You know, we had to do that to survive. We had to do that to like, you know, that's where like the whole Baptist church and all that stuff came about, because like we did stuff out of trauma. You know, we created foods and songs and language out of trauma and out of trauma bonding. So we were the lower class and they didn't care about us. But now that things are shifting, you know, now it's what they got going on. Now they want to be a part of it so bad after pushing us away.
But also we put it out there on Front Street all the time.
Yeah.
And now it's available to be consumed, whereas they wouldn't even know what like code switching or any of that stuff means.
Yeah, because like, that's why like sometimes Black people gotta shut up, because like if people ask me, oh, what this mean, don't tell them. Like that's not their business. That's our culture. Like we could gatekeep it and we could have that within us, but now, like you said, the stuff becomes not public knowledge now. It's not even a secret anymore. Where's that intimacy of sharing that?
And then the tools and things that we made to help ourselves survive in these scenarios are now like put out there, and now they know. Like if they know about code switching, for example, they might look more into your background and your socials and go do more deep dives to see how you really are.
Yeah.
Because now they're not even going to believe that you're really you. Like there's so many different things that's wrong with it.
That's a good point. Like for me, for example, they could be like, hear me in an interview, and then they go to my YouTube and I'm like, or they go to the podcast. It's like, whoa, that smell like good. Like that's why even with my Instagram, like when people, like coworkers follow me, I'm like, I don't know if I want you to hear this side of me. Because this is who I am comfortably with my friends and family and like, you know, people who know me. I don't necessarily want you to know the side of me. And they would, like you said, they wouldn't even known about code switching. They would have thought that's just how we talked. If you know, I mean, they'll still see like online stuff, but they wouldn't know personally. Like we have a whole thing where we talk.
Yeah, or that there's a word for it, or like what these different things mean. Or they're now exposed to like they're exposed to all our history basically by things that were internally in the house, like the things we eat, what we talk about, how we feel about other races, like all those different things. It wouldn't have even been a thought, but now that you're putting it out there, like even using like the YT people, like now they know what that means. So now you can't even use that as a code. Like there's just so much different things. But so for me, it's like a level of insanity where people complain about not profiting off of the things that they're responsible for making popular, but then continue to put those things out on platforms that they don't own, and that more likely than not that no people that look like them work in those companies. Like if I go look at ByteDance's diversity numbers, I'm sure it's nothing. So it's like the definition of insanity. But
and we're not gonna stop. We're literally giving them the money. TikTok will not be anything like you think about even the Musical.ly days. It was run by hip hop music. It was run by Jersey Club, because apparently Jersey Club was very popular on Musical.ly. Like, it's just crazy. Like we make these people billions, trillions, all like, you know, collectively trillions, and we don't even get no anti-lynching laws passed. Like this is crazy. Where are my reparations? Where are my reparations?
We're not having that conversation.
Yeah.
All right. Is that all you got? I'm done.
I was really going to talk about this one last thing. It's kind of a brief thing. It could get deep, but we don't really have. You don't have to.
No, I'm done talking. I'm going to sleep.
I was just talking about how.
I'm taking a nap.
Why NBA YoungBoy wore makeup, and everybody was coming at him.
That was the deep dive?
No, because it could get into the deeper talk. Remember we were going to talk about femininity, you know. We're going to talk about that today, but we talked about this in the pod before about these man-made constructs. It's makeup. Do you guys realize all these actors in these movies that you watch are wearing makeup? They're like, makeup is for girls. Says who? It's literally products that you're putting on your face. People they got to stop with this whole man-made stuff. Like, it just really doesn't make sense. If he wants to wear makeup and like he said, I like painting my face, putting makeup on. That's me being himself. Like, okay, and then let's respect that.
That was an accident.
Oh, you hit the button. So people are weird. You guys got to stop with these man-made constructs. Like, you really got to stop. It's makeup. It's really not that deep. Let people do you. I feel when people get bothered by this stuff, they are internally fighting something. Because why are you so bothered by what he wants to put on his face? If you don't want to put it on your face, that's your decision.
We got to like, because for me, I'm selfish.
Look at these comments. Oh gosh.
I'm selfish, right?
He fresh out. Yeah, they got him. What? Because he wants to wear it right on his face and put a little lipstick on? Like,
I'm not personally doing any of those things, but that's a personal thing. I think that I'm selfish, right? Like I really only genuinely care about the things that I care about, the people I care about, and I care about my time. More importantly than anything, I get very upset if my time is being wasted, and not a single day of my life will I waste my time worrying about what another man got going on with with makeup or just in general. I'm not wasting my time on anybody else. Like that's the bottom line. So if it don't apply to me, then I don't care. Like my life did not change before him doing that, and then my life hasn't changed after knowing that he does that. I don't care. Like people need to be selfish and not care. Because it's not news. Like that's not news to me. Like look, really think about what we're
like, okay,
looking at. Who cares?
He put makeup on.
Who cares?
Like, why is this a public thing? And with, let me see.
Like I hated that. Like even with and I don't want to sound insensitive by saying this because it might come across insensitive, but hopefully the message translates. Like when people were like that whole because I don't relate to it. I don't know what that's like, but the closeted people coming out.
Like why that's news.
And I feel like we need a better term for closet, something about that.
Well, it makes sense. Closeted meaning because like your closet is kind of like where your most intimate stuff is. It's like,
yeah, I feel like there should be a better word for that. But in general, like who cares? If nobody cares,
they're making whole articles. NBA player came out as gay. It's like, okay, cool. He likes guys. Like, okay, why is that a whole article?
I'm like, how many rebounds does he get? I don't
like. Okay, I came here to watch basketball. I don't care. I
don't personally
who
care
he goes
about
home to. Like, and the fact that people get so like riled up about it, it's like weird because it just makes you wonder, like, why are you so anti it? Like, what is it that what really is it that bothers you? It's like, oh, men shouldn't wear makeup. Well, why? Because that's what girls wear. But why? Because somebody told you that's what girls wear? Like, what if we lived in a world where men wore makeup and girls were supposed to be natural face? Now it's supposed to be the norm. People would have been...
Nobody should wear makeup if we really want to talk about it.
Yeah, if we really want to talk about it, because it's probably toxic chemicals that we're putting onto your face.
Very unnecessary. Don't have any health benefits.
Yeah. I mean, I still like makeup. I'm still going to wear it, but...
If anything.
I get it because there's times where I fall asleep my makeup, I wake up and my face literally is itchy and like swollen because of all the chemicals.
With all that being said, I still don't care.
Yeah.
Somebody's face breaking out across the country because they wore makeup.
Yeah, it's not your body, it's not your face. Yeah.
People need
so
to
the
not
fact
care.
that people are like, he's been in the cell too long, this is not good. They got to him. He's out now on house arrest. Like he has to be at some place, but he was in jail for like maybe it was a few months. It was like half a year. It might have been longer than that. So.
Oh yeah.
But it's like that just might be who he is, and he's comfortable enough for like expressing that, and people are just gonna attack him. Like then you wonder why so many black people and black men have all these mental health problems. Like women want to talk about how bad some of the men are in this world, but they don't realize that sometimes their own ignorance and their own stuff that they push on them is what makes these men go crazy and like ruin their mental health, and that's why they're such a bad partner to you because of their experience with their mother.
You know what's
especially
unfortunate?
These toxic moms. Like a lot of black people are in single mom households, and then you wonder why these men are so messed up. Maybe we should blame women because they were raised by these toxic, crazy moms. And yeah, the dad is absent too, which is his fault. Like, you know, having an absent father definitely is his fault. But these angry, bitter mothers raise these men.
I saw a sick video earlier of, I don't even know if I really honestly want to repeat it.
What was it?
No, it's not funny.
Oh.
No, it's not funny. Not sick in like a funny way. It was like actually like kind of like I was like,
What was it?
This guy was on live.
Oh yeah, I was about to ask you if it was that. Yeah. And he said how he killed.
He's like, I just shot her in the head.
Yeah, and then he's about to kill the wife. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah. And see, I knew he was gonna bring that up because the white just said about the mental health stuff. But he said that in the live,
and
like how his this situation with him trying to get custody has literally ruined his mental health.
I wasn't gonna. God, it's a shame. Like I feel like we should have like a different podcast. Like we should have like a break off podcast because like I enjoy listening to more lighthearted things.
Yeah,
but
I mean we don't always talk about like negative stuff though.
But what I mean, like these things need to be talked about. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But like I was gonna because you brought up like black women and There's just a lot of issues. There's just
It's so
so many
many to
issues
unpack.
because
It's like it's so many because like
me as a black man, I'm not allowed to talk about black women. So
yeah.
I can't offer
But
any.
me as a black woman, I could get my perspective on like even how you act. It's like you were raised in a house with a mom who's not a toxic black woman, like who's happy, who's nice, who's caring, who's loving.
Look how it turned out.
Yeah, no shock. But then you have these men out on the streets,
Oh, let me hear the air horn from my mom.
and I hate sounding like a pick me. But you really have to get to the root of it. Like you have all these men, everybody wants to talk about how trash men are and this, that, and that. Who made them that way though? Like we really had to get to the core. And like I'm not saying that there's men out there who come from loving mothers and loving household with their dad that present are great men. They still are trash. But it's just not a coincidence that a lot of men that were raised in like really caring households don't treat women horrible. When you're raised by a mom who's mad at the world, who hates men, imagine growing up as a man and all you hear is your mom talking about how much he hates men all the time. Then you wonder why that man grows up and goes and kills people. You wonder why that man grows up and treats women horrible. Like they might despise women because of growing with a mom like that. You know, that's why the whole am I dating a black woman? They only say that because of their moms and their sisters and their aunts, and the grandma, the angry single woman in their family that are just angry. That's what they're raised around. And you wonder why they're such horrible men, because they have horrible mothers, they have horrible women figures in their life. Because that's just the stats. You can't, and like I said, the men leaving the house, yeah, you could blame them too. Like the men that abandoned those sons, yes, their fault too. But I'm just talking about specifically what they hear, what they grew up listening to.
Now I will, as a man, I will defend my fellow brothers. Some of that stuff, as you can clearly see, and I'm not using him as an example because it was a despicable thing that happened, but the guy that just, so for people that don't know, for context, a guy went on live after he murdered his ex-girlfriend due to struggles with a custody battle, and then later on that live, he then killed a girl that he got pregnant.
No, it was the other way around.
Oh, he killed the ex-girlfriend second.
No, I think he said ex-girlfriend because they were girlfriend and boyfriend or whatever, but he killed her. So maybe that's why he used the word ex. But he killed the girlfriend who was pregnant, and then the person he killed second was the ex-wife. Gotcha. who had the kids with.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so he killed the girlfriend first, and then he killed the wife, the ex-wife.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That, for example, when you look at single mother households, it's not always because the man walked out on the kid. These custody battles, the woman almost always gets the kids. Mm-hmm. So it's not even in that, when you look at that data, that's not even true all the time, because men are never going to get custody of the kids ever. I don't know if that's a woman privilege or what.
It's probably because like the whole nurturing aspect they feel like their mothers have, and like you had them in your body. So I think it makes sense, but it's messed up because they don't look at it as a case to case basis, and a lot of times these moms are not even suited to be parents as much as their dad are, and have still let the mom get custody.
And that kid is going to grow up in a single parent household.
Yeah.
Just simply off the basis that, and you see these threats that they make that you're not going to see your kid. I'll make it so you never see your kid.
That's just so psychotic. That's so psychotic. And then those same moms wonder why they grow up and the kids literally hate them. And
they also, as a kid, like you're growing up with a mom that's saying,
yeah, your dad, you see how he doesn't come get you? He don't like you.
When they're preventing him from doing that. Men ain't this, and all men are trash. And it's like you telling a little kid from a young age that he's trash because he's a man. Yeah. And that's how it gets internalized, and then they end up being crazy.
Yep. And like, not to defend that guy, but like I could have only imagined at the end of the day, it's like the same thing with the Chris Watts situation. Like you wanted a new wife and a new life, don't kill your freaking family, So he didn't have to kill them. Like especially like why the girlfriend had to catch it straight. Like this is like wild. Unless there might have been issues with hers too, but
no, there was.
Oh.
What happened was that she was making the same threats to him.
Okay, that's why she was pregnant. Okay, yeah, she was pregnant. Yeah,
and she was saying the same exact thing.
So he was just like, "Oh my God, I'm not doing this again."
Yeah, he said that she said, "I'll make you go through that too," like or something to that effect. Or like something like, I'll do the same thing. And obviously we don't know what she said directly, but that's what he said on the live, at least.
And the fact that he would kill himself too is like, definitely his mental health was just destroyed.
And left the kid. The kid is alive.
Yeah. Which is a good thing he did that, because last thing they'll take everybody out with them.
But well, obviously the unborn baby.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's kind of messed up. Yeah, he didn't have to kill her. I mean, he didn't have to kill anybody. Yeah,
of course. But it's just
but it just makes people like
a personified example
of what this could lead to,
the mental angst. And the guys that don't do these things, don't do these extreme things, just suffer in silence usually. Mm-hmm. That's why men have the highest rate of suicide.
Yep. And then they feel afraid to even speak out or say how they feel because it's seen as weak. Like a woman will make you feel weak if you cry or are emotional about something. Like, what's wrong? But they want you to just cry on their wedding day. That's it. When they come out with a dress, but they don't want you to cry in any other moment. Like, why am I going to show emotion and be vulnerable and you never let me be vulnerable? Yeah. So yeah, people say all I have to say, like, let young boy do whatever he wants. Like, he's comfortable doing this. He felt vulnerable enough doing this to his fans and to the world, and people are clowning him. And then you wonder why these men are the way they are. You wonder why they're so mad and angry and upset, and don't really want to do things. Like, then you wonder why, because they literally get scrutinized for everything. So just let him be him. Like this, like we said this a few times. It's like this, all this stuff is man-made construct. It's just makeup. If it was a norm that men wear makeup and women don't, you wouldn't be saying anything. Like, people need to really break out of that shell of just following the wave, following the norms. Like, why don't you just like think outside of that? Think about beyond that. Think about how we're just people on this planet just living in a human experience. It's really not that deep if he wants to put some freaking products on his face, some like chemicals that you stir up. Like, who cares? It's not that serious. How's it any different than the guys putting the black stuff on their face for the football game? That's makeup. Like, it's just, I don't get it. I don't. And people are very, very weird to want to just keep pushing these societal norms. Like, it is so crazy to me. I just really can't understand it. Like, even the other day, I was at the mall yesterday. I saw some guy wearing a dress, and like it looked like he was with a girlfriend. Like, they were holding hands. And I was like, it did catch me off guard, because sometimes you got to break out of your norm, your shell. And I'm like, at first I was like, oh my God, I wonder if they did like a YouTube prank and she made him wear this. And then I had to think. I had to check myself. I'm like, no, wait, maybe he just wants to wear the dress. Maybe that's what he wants to wear. It wasn't like a dress, but it was kind of like it looked like a kilt, but it was like one piece, and it had like black like tights. I don't know. It was like leggings. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I can't be a hypocrite. I think outside. I'm like, maybe that's just what he wants to wear today, and that's fine. It's probably comfortable. So we really just got to stop like pushing these man-made constructs. Like, other humans decided about this is how things should be. And the funny thing about it is, throughout time, it's literally flipped. Like, cause like consistently. Because there were one point where men were wearing makeup. Like, back in the 1700s, they were putting on those wigs and putting all that powder on their face, right? Like, they were wearing like skirts and dresses sometimes, like, and then things flipped around. Like, things always kind of change, and people are just sheep. Like, stop being sheep. Just think for yourself. Question everything. Like, question literally everything. Question why about everything. And I'm telling you, that's literally the key to being happy. Is not literally conforming to like this. It's like the Matrix. Everybody is just walking around, living, following the rules, not even questioning why they're doing things. Like, expand your brain and let him wear his makeup in peace, please. That's what he wants to do. It's not if it's not affecting you personally, directly. Then why are you mad? Why are you upset? Why are you triggered? Because that's the real question. Why are you triggered? Is it because you want to wear makeup? That you're scared? Because that's the only thing I can think of, right? Because why are you so triggered? Because some people be going wild, right? Like, they'll be like, those gays, I want to kill them all. It's like, whoa. What are you so angry about? Oh, yeah.
Screaming in the headphones.
No, but that's just like, it's like, whoa, what are you so angry about? Like, why do you want to kill them? For what? And I really think in those instances as this jealousy. Like you want to come out so bad. They got apps for that. You know, you could be low key, you could be DL. And that's the crazy part. That's how you know it's true about like the angry and aggression. Is a lot of it is this jealousy or like you're closeted of feelings. It's because so many girls will tell you, like a lot of these thoughts that be in the industry tell you there's a lot of DL men. A lot of these rappers, football players, basketball players really are freaky and really be down with the other men, and be doing crazy stuff. But they'll never admit it because they scared. It's okay. How come two girls kissing is so glorified, but two men kissing is like, oh, end of the world?
I'm a lesbian.
Oh, babe.
Listen.
I'm glad you feel comfortable opening up.
Girls on girls where I'm from.
They wasn't doing no girl on girl action at Franklin.
Why you putting out where I'm from? Why you putting out my business?
There's multiple Franklin. There's literally 3 Franklins in New Jersey. Franklin Lakes. Franklin.
Do I look like I came from Franklin Lakes?
There's a Franklin by me. That's why when you told me you was from Franklin, I was like, you live like 20 minutes from me. And I was like, that man don't live in the sticks.
Nah, I live amongst the rich. Wealth. Look shop.
Not anymore. We live in the trenches. No, I'm just kidding.
Relax.
No, we live amongst wealth. We got literally
all right.
Bentley trucks in the parking lot.
Thank you guys for watching.
Teslas,
this has been
Mercedes,
a couple of
Range
things
Rovers,
podcast, which is
and
really
I got a
going to
Hyundai.
be changed to a couple of podcasts. I mean, a couple of a couple of pod. Ew. I need a nap. I'm about to go work out after I chop up this video. But this has been the A Couple of Things podcast, which I feel like should be the A Couple of Things show. Because we mostly, well, you at least, you just talk to the camera. You don't even talk to me, so it's not really.
I do talk to you. I barely look at the camera. Only time I look at the camera is when I look at the camera when I'm specifically addressing anybody who's watching.
No, don't address nobody who's
some
watching.
things I'm saying to the camera, I'm not saying to you. I'm just letting these niggas know you guys are whack, weird, cheap.
But address me.
But you're not a whack, weird, cheap, so I don't want to say that to your face.
But you are.
I'm saying I'm not no sheep.
But you are though.
I'm not no sheep.
But you are though.
You don't see me act like I'm not like other girls.
Yeah.
You know how people say
you the sheep. You always say you're not like other girls.
Alex.
Yeah.
I say that personally 'cause I just think I'm weird. Like I really think I'm weird. Like the other day I was looking in the mirror and I was like trying to like dance and be like cute and I was just laughing at myself. I'm like nobody was here and I still couldn't even be comfortable to just do like a cute little dance. 'Cause I'm just weird.
You'd be surprised there's a lot of girls like that.
I know, and I wish I could meet them.
No, they're like everybody. Everybody's like that.
True. They'd be putting on a front too.
For sure.
No, but I feel like some people really
that's like a common
I feel like some
thought.
people are really like very promiscuous and sexual and like do all these stuff when out in public and like dancing and stuff and really like are comfortable doing that. I can never, 'cause that's just not me. That's not who I am. That's not me. I'm like, I'm weird.
This has been the
I said it in public.
Podcast. I'm Alex
What are you
G.
sighing about? I said in public.
I'm alongside the prude.
The prude. Okay, see here. No, this is what we're not gonna do. This is what we're not gonna do. Don't even play with me. You know about my history. Our history.
Your history?
Our history.
Oh, let's get into your history.
Yeah, okay. You know my situation. I literally met you and I was an innocent little child.
Let's
so
get into your history. Hold on.
I don't have a history.
What are the wait?
Literally, my whole entire history is you.
Wait, hold on. I had the drum roll.
You know I don't have no history. Please don't play with me. I'm probably the most inexperienced person in life.
What's this
Well, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm inexperienced. I'm just very only experienced with you.
Look, I'm putting together sentences with
Yeah,
the
but
sound
you
bites.
know our history. Like
Get
I
your
said,
finger out my face.
You know our history.
Get your
you
finger out
know
my
the
face.
crazy things we have done. So don't ever fix your face and come in or prove. You know the things that we have done. All right, I'm not doing that. I'm not exposing our business, but you know
This has been the Couple of Things podcast
that we have done and where
we're changing the name to
and
a couple of Things show
in the situations we've been in with other people
with Alex G
around
and Mao. Thank
Don't
you guys
believe
for
me.
watching. Catch you guys next week. As
believe-
always,
don't believe me.
same place, not the same time because it's never the same time.
Oop,
But
let's
I
try
will
to break
see
it
you
before
guys.
2 hours.
We're gonna cut it right at 1:59:59,
Well, it might be.
and we out.